We live. Oh, there we go.
905.
Live. This is the
We
chop up.
live. Me too. I guess tonight I ain't gonna be able to see how many views we got. That's cold, but it is what it is. Cause I'm on my phone
It's all good. I'll keep people updated.
and I can't see the chat, but it is what it is.
Oh, you can't see the chat. Oh,
Well, I can, I
yeah.
can, I can. I gotta like see it like a
You gotta
weird way.
touch your phone and get
I
all in
touch
the
my
way or whatever.
phone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. Me and Toyo handle it in the background.
So we're a little tardy to the party, but go ahead and announce yourself if you're up in here. Speak. Don't be rude. Good evening.
Right.
Say what's up to the people. Lena, Denasia, we a little tardy. We a little late. We seen y'all checking for us. We had to
Yeah.
pull some things together, but we're
We
here.
a little late, but we
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, what's up? It's live, yo. It's very live. What's good with it?
Yeah. I
We
mean,
very,
hey.
very loud. That's why y'all seen us because we live.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Journey, you had to get
You know,
down.
we got us a nice little conversation, man. Shout out to everybody in Louisiana, man. Especially everybody in southern Louisiana, central Louisiana. You
Yeah.
feel what I'm saying? Everybody in the Gulf Coast that's been hit by Hurricane Ida. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of y'all too probably tired of hearing about old Sha'Carri, but you know what I mean. We gonna jump into some Sha'Carri
We
shenanigans
got
tonight.
to. We got. It's
You know
more
what
of
I'm
a follow
saying?
up though. It's like a follow up because we
Follow up though,
had
definitely a follow up. You know?
we balanced here with the chop up. So it was one part of the conversation we felt like we had to speak on. So that means we gotta speak on the other one. You know what I mean?
Kayla
So
popped in
let's get it.
tonight. Thank you so much for coming back to hang out another show. I know you have been out of the mix apparently, but it's never a bad time to link up with the gang. So welcome back. Aaliyah Don, always great to have you in the mix, have you in the comments chiming in and talking to us. So it's good to have y'all back tonight as well.
For sure.
Everybody else, go ahead, speak. Talk to us real quick. We try to give y'all a chance. We 2 minutes or so into the live, but in a second we finna start the show like we always start the show.
Yeah.
Always juicy conversations, man. Always stimulating conversations. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Tap into the chop up. And hey, listen, while you're here, go on, do me a favor. Go on and like it. Go on and you know what I'm saying. Make sure you
Do
subscribe.
all of that.
Make sure you know what I'm saying. Make sure you share it if you're on Facebook. You
Do all
feel
of
me?
that.
Listen, if you're on YouTube, go on and copy the link and go send it to a couple people in text messages or something. Go to Twitter, or go and post it over there or something like that. You feel me, man? It's a chop up show. We about to have us a nice little conversation.
Yeah. Y'all know how it go. Chop up show on YouTube, Facebook, all of that. Go ahead and share that. Share that.
Noel, what's up? Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Great to have you.
Yeah. So
Pinky Promise. What's up, Kayla?
So as y'all trickle on in here, we're gonna go ahead and get it started because it's kind of late.
It is.
And we're gonna like Toya said, even though she said it once already. We're
gonna
start the show.
I was just warming it
up. No. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Like the plug. Let me be
right. Because we only gonna start the show the way that we always start the show. Let's get it.
Me, my guys, we really live. Lord, forgive me, pay my tithes. Please don't have me reach inside. And that's in the console. Keep the semi when I ride. Little penny when I drive. In the city, we gon' slide. Bet I be there pronto.
Pronto. What's good with it? This is the Chop Up Show. Y'all know what's going on. It's another Monday night. And this is your girl, Toya G, coming in on the last Monday night of the month of August in this year, 2021.
September is over.
Fast like a movie. Summer's about done. I ain't gonna call it done. We ain't gonna call it done until the what did they call it? The autumnal solstice or the autumnal equinox. I don't know. That was science class from back in the day. We ain't gonna call it.
So I only know the summer and the winter solstice. I
think it's the summer and winter solstice, and then it's the
equinox.
No equinox, and then what's the vernal equinox? I think. Mr. Ketchum, if you out there, I try to do you proud. But here we are. Let's get it again. Another Monday night. Shout out to
you better than both of us.
That was my science teacher, man, for real. But I'm not alone. I'm with the homies. Y'all go ahead and holler at the people. Who we with?
Y'all know what it is. It's the chop up. It's the plug. It's Monday. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Friendly reminder, make sure you stay sucker free in the land of lollipops out here. It's George Lee, aka Conscious Lee. Don't forget to Lee. Hey, GeorgeLeeSpeaks.com. Got it going for you. All the workshops that you need. You feel me? Also, make sure you tune in with me this Wednesday night for Conscious Conversations, 9:30 p.m. Central. You feel me? It's going down. What we getting into tonight?
Hey, we got a big conversation. Got a lot of different conversations going down tonight, but I'm gonna go ahead and get y'all started with the snap chop real quick. Go ahead and cut to the chase because the fan favorites Beyonce and Jay-Z are back in the news again. Now, they are not releasing an album, but rather they are sensationalizing your timelines with some new photos that they have released because Beyonce was celebrated last week as being the first Black woman to ever wear a Tiffany diamond. So she was photographed in nice ball gown attire, hair all done up, done this, makeup beat. And then, of course, the historic, newest, most rare Tiffany gem that they have found and discovered. And then we also have in a lot of these pictures as well, Jay-Z standing next to a very rare, if not unreleased Basquiat. We all know that Basquiat is a famous and renowned Black artist, painter. Who has gained acclaim for his very interesting, very abstract, but still, I don't know. Let me not get into my art terminology. Art history's been a long time, first semester in undergrad, but got his own swag, got his own style, famous with that quintessential those freeform locks that he's known for as well, right? So beautiful art, beautiful jewelry. And with that, we get into the first part of the conversation, which is, are these reasons to celebrate, right? Beyonce, Jay-Z, icons, pop culture, not just for Black people, but general pop culture, ambassadors for the world. Is the Tiffany Stone and is the Basquiat, because Jay-Z owns it, by the way. He owns the Basquiat. It was not just in the picture, he owns it. Is this a reason for fanfare and celebration? Did y'all get excited when y'all saw it?
First of all, I ain't see it. I don't know what the Tiffany diamond is. I know who Basquiat is just because, you know, Black history, Black art, you know what I'm saying, celebrating Blackness. But I mean, really, this is just another example of white people telling us what to find important. You know what I'm saying? Like, niggas do not care about a Tiffany diamond. Like, it got some type of slave colonizer blood running all through it. You know what I'm saying? So the celebration of it, you feel me, again, is a colonizer celebration. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got shit to do with us. Yeah, you know I mean, they all that is pointing to is, again, that Jay-Z and Beyonce have reached levels of wealth where white people are finding it more comfortable to flaunt with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, cool. We like, y'all make money like we do. Y'all move in the circles that we move in. Y'all are at the top of the world, and this is what we give people at the top of the world with us. I mean, we should not celebrate the, you know what I'm saying, the celebrity aristocracy. I do not think so.
Okay. I mean, that's an interesting take. By the way, Pinky Cash Monet says the video is choppy. Y'all talk to us in the comments. Ain't much we can do about it, but we would love to know if we are suffering in terms of quality. Want to be able to holler at y'all. Pinky Promise Life says she hadn't seen the picture yet, so don't really know a whole lot about what's going on. And yes, shout out to Noel for always pulling up and showing love. We just try to bring conversations that are valuable to y'all that shape and frame the rest of the discussions that we already are part of in our timelines. And Noel is always showing love and just really contributing to the dialogue, not just in contributions, but also in comments and in feedback and stuff like that. So it's big love to Noel. But Lee, what is your take on, because I saw some head nods, but I want to hear it from you. Should we be excited? Because Beyonce is the first Black woman to wear a Tiffany diamond. Like, this is a big deal. And Beyonce's Beyonce, a lot of big accomplishments, a lot of honor for that. So are we missing a chance to celebrate something big? Like, what's up?
I don't think it should necessarily be a celebration, but I do think it's big that Beyonce is the first, I guess, Black person to be wearing Tiffany diamond, considering that it was discovered in South Africa. What I found funny while I was nodding my head is that Damo said he don't know about the Tiffany diamond, but he knows about some slavery or some colonialism tied to it. And I'm gonna keep it real. I didn't know what the hell Tiffany diamond was, and as you were speaking, of course, you know, research, I went and Googled it, and sure enough, you know what I'm saying? That's what it is. The significant is it's the largest yellow diamond ever discovered. You feel me? Originally found at 287 carats. You feel me? in the rough when it was discovered in 1878. And apparently the Tiffany dude, you know what I'm saying, Charles Tiffany, the New York jeweler, is the one that bought it. He supposedly was studying it. You feel me? His gemologist studied it for about a year. And then, of course, he started cutting on it. You know what I'm saying? And that cutting carried out in Paris, and it's been sitting in New York. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going down with it. I think that the way that we start to celebrate colonialism and we start to celebrate white folks taking people of color artifacts, I think that sometimes I feel like in this instance, in my mind, there'd be no way of celebrating her being the first one doing it, first one wearing it, without celebrating, you feel me, how it was stolen, taken, and theft. You feel me? Especially if she don't own it, she was wearing it.
How many black women, indigenous black women, did that stone pass? Did it miss the opportunity to sit on and just before it made its all the way back over here, right? That's a valid point that we can't ignore. But, like a mother does, right? Mama Knowles, Miss Tina Lawson, was there to speak up for her child. And a lot of people said, okay, she had a point. A lot of people said, Miss Tina, here you go again. Because she always seems to pop out of the ashes whenever somebody got something to say about Beyonce. When they was talking bad about Black is King, she was like, back up off my child. So Tina Lawson, in response to a lot of the issues with exactly what y'all said, colonization and blood diamonds and this and that, said, well, a lot of y'all got diamonds on y'all fingers, diamonds on your wrist, diamonds in y'all ear. And here's the thing, you roll your eyes, but she said, a lot of y'all don't know where y'all wedding jewelry came from. A lot of y'all don't know where the stuff y'all wear came from. It's something special, something that you value, something that and then you just kind of.
My wife has a blood diamond.
But you said what?
My wife has a blood diamond. I'm sure of it. I mean, shit. But I mean,
so is she a valid point that we need to fall off Beyonce if we all walking around with diamonds that we don't know the origins of, or if we do know the origins of them and whatever, is she loud and wrong? What's up?
Time out. I don't like this comment. Said my screen is dreadlock heavy on the left. Put Damo in the middle to balance it out. The fresh twist up is looking good for yours. Hey, listen, bro. It ain't gonna be no. You know what I'm saying? Like. And no dreadlock hate, you feel me? Like, cause like, check, listen.
First of all,
ball head.
Ain't nothing dreadful about my hair.
I got locks. Hey, but peep game though. Hey,
hold on, real quick. Okay, real quick. Let me, because I gotta put this out there though. Like, first of all, again, this is what happened this is kind of like when somebody said Black Lives Matter, and somebody was like, "Well, Black lives don't matter to Black people," like that type of shit, right?
Sure.
I mean, what she did is more. It's a deflection. It's not actually responding to the criticism. You feel me? Because there's a unique danger in being able to be celebrated for Black is King, while also celebrating the colonizer.
And that was
there's a unique danger in that, right? So when that criticism is presented, to then try to point the finger and be like, but y'all, well, yeah, like we are a part of a consumer culture that has been brainwashed to believe that certain rituals have to take place in order for it to be legitimate, like getting engaged with a diamond ring and then going through that process. That is a brainwashing, you know what I'm saying, a social engineering that is a part of consumer culture. Now, why do we get caught up in that? Because the people that we look to, are the entertainers, celebrate things like diamonds, celebrate the things that
diamonds
that's not on the Tiffany diamond level, right? We can't sniff that, but the closest that we'll get is a diamond chain, you know what I'm saying, or an engagement ring. You feel me? So that's why you criticize Beyonce, not flip the script, because what she's doing is, if you're saying these people should also be held accountable, it's like, yep, they should be held accountable by being subjected to the brainwashing that Beyonce is perpetuating by being celebrated for wearing a Tiffany diamond.
Okay, so there's a level of culpability across the board.
Across the board.
But if it's true that there's culpability across the board, it starts where the cycle starts, which is with the celebrity culture that forces us or that encourages us to fall in love with and desire these things in the first place.
Right.
It sounds like from a debate perspective, we got us a damn good even if statement. You feel me? Even a damn good even if, you feel me? Because in my mind, it's like this is definitely a textbook whataboutism that doesn't really refute the criticism, the original criticism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But even if we want to go with this whataboutism, it still exposes the culpability across the board in terms of who is implicated. Because it's being real, the blood diamonds is an issue because, again, African, you know what I'm saying, black African cheap labor or labor that's being exploited. You know what I'm saying? On the backs of black people. So again, you feel me? The criticism. So you both y'all points is just like, hey, even if we want to not look at it as a whataboutism and say that, you know what I'm saying, Miss Knowles has some good criticisms.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the criticisms though still show that you implicated in what you trying to indict. You feel me? Because yeah, you know what I mean? It's just, yeah.
Well, Plug, I was gonna go to these comments real quick, but I definitely want you to be able to jump in if you were about to add something.
I was gonna speak on the Basquiat. I think that the Basquiat.
I don't know what Basquiat. I don't get like. So what does
Basquiat
Jay-Z own?
He was like the
I know
Black
who he
Picasso.
Is, like what does Jay-Z own?
He owns a very rare, if not ever released Basquiat painting.
Yeah.
So Google it real quick, and you'll see he's in a picture with it, and him and Beyonce are in pictures together. She has on the diamond. He's sitting in a chair next to the Basquiat. Before we transition to Basquiat, then Plug, I want you kick that off. I want to holler at these comments real quick because it's a lot of interesting things. Lee and Don said two things. One, we need to celebrate when we get our culture back, our artifacts back, our paintings back. Continue saying because she's a celebrity, she puts more attention and status on the rock. So perhaps an alternative way to look at it, right? If Black popular culture leaders are able to acquire some of these arts and some of these rare things, I would like to see them repatriated to their homes, to be put in places where other Black people can appreciate them. That's where I start to get real finicky about it. I don't think she owns it.
She's just wearing it too. She's just wearing it. It's literally like she's wearing it. She not owning it. She don't own it. She don't. You feel me? She wearing it.
And so it might be a little bit stickier than that. By the way, shout out to Casas. We see you in the comments. Definitely shout out to the homie Casas. Been a minute. Big love to you. Kayla says, I think that personally it's exciting for Beyonce as a person, but to celebrate something that is specific celebrities and a product of colonization and imperialism, I don't agree with. It is not specifically calling Beyonce out, but drawing attention to the bigger problem. So we do have to like be precise and be specific in our criticisms based on what Kayla is saying, but also be general with the, I guess, dominant way that we go about imperialist and capitalist actions, right? She, just like we are, complicit in a system. We participate in a system. We are products, unwilling participants in systems that perpetuate a lot of the problematic things about it. And so it's a catch-22 because you, as a Beyonce, do have access. You deserve to have your first. You deserve to have all these experiences. Yeah. It just becomes very complicated when it gets tied up and wrapped up and tangled up in very vehemently violent acts that it takes to require those things, and it's not a secret. You know what I'm saying? That's when it becomes.
And to add some nuance to it, the diamond necklace that she rocking is $30 million, 128 carats.
Yeah,
and I want to point this out. There is no reconciliation between being celebrated for Black is King and then being celebrated for the Tiffany diamond. There is no reconciliation.
It's hard to do.
You know what I'm saying? Like we have to see how there is a dollar in celebrating Blackness. You know what I'm saying? From a commercial perspective, from a consumer perspective, it's money there. You know what I'm saying? And just like with Black Panther, yes, we feel that sense of pride when we see these type of spectacles, when we have the Beyonce album, when we have the Marvel movie that allows us to see this sense of Afrofuturism, right? Mm-hmm. And that's dope, right? Like those things, like we should embrace. Like I've thoroughly enjoyed the videos on the Black is King album, but at the same time, we have to understand that these images are still being dictated through capitalism, and for capitalist reasons. When they say that the revolution won't be televised, when you see these think pieces about the importance of a Black Panther and the importance of the Black is King album, we can't forget that these characters, that these images, these depictions are given to us by the same consumer culture that then puts the messed up images on the screen and then portray us in the messed up ways, and then they get paid off of that too.
Yeah,
you feel me? That hurt. That's what hurts the revolution, is that the sense of these things are constantly clashing, and there is no reconciliation to then pull the true revolutionary value of what it's like to see Africa in these ways that we want to see. I mean, yeah, my fault. I didn't mean to rant. We could go ahead and move on.
I mean, that's the kind of the point, the goal of it. I'm gonna read this, and then I'm gonna close it out by asking y'all a question, and then we'll transition to the next thing. Couple comments are that. Let me know. Pinky Promise Life said, if you don't want the heat, stay out the kitchen. I mean, don't post if you don't want the smoke. Jay-Z and B are too experienced in the game to not think somebody was gonna make a comment, right? So they kind of have invited this criticism based on what Pinky Promise Life is saying. And if you don't want that kind of drama, or those people questioning your, fidelity to the cause and to the movement, you do need to be more judicious about the stuff that you do. You ain't got to put your name next to everything. And I'm sure they don't, right? They're probably very particular about the stuff that they associate their name with. It's just a lot of things that make you stroke your imaginary beard. Like, why this? You know what I'm saying? Especially
on my real beard.
Go ahead and scratch that thing, right? Because we have questions. Margot, in the building again. Shout out to you, showing love, tapping in, always showing love, but also with some great comments, right? Financially, but also with some great thoughts and perspectives. You say, so I'm under the notion that the normative culture of America had to be put to rest with the rebirthing being collective intersection. How do we re-envision these painful symbols? I think re-envisioning painful symbols, we have to ask ourselves, are there a value in them in the first place? There is no necessary utility for diamonds in our real lives. You know what I'm saying? So I would love to start to move away from those particular artifacts or symbols, those
consumer culture.
One of my favorite things about hip hop culture, right, is that it has started to transition away from, and we have rappers like Lil Baby talking about, the lack of jewelry that they wear. A bunch of different artists have come out to say, the approach, the Gucci's, anybody ask, I think, and there's even, I forget what show was out. It's like maybe not an MTV show, but it's a show where rappers are able to show all their stuff. Right, their biggest collections are like some of the money they spend. My nephew was showing me this show, and Gucci on there, hands down, I think has the most expensive jewelry collection that's there. But what Gucci will tell you probably is that a lot of those pieces that he has, some of them might be new, but a lot of them are old representations of old thinking. Right, they are collateral pieces now that represent a lot of the money that they recognize and don't need to be tied up in diamonds and bullshit, but that can actually be used to acquire multiple businesses and avenues and revenue, lanes of revenue and stuff like that. So I think to answer that question, we should do, specifically for diamonds, they serve no purpose. Like, we should get completely rid of these painful representations or symbols and move on from them. Christopher says, that being said, I feel like J&B do their best to do things that participate in campaigns to celebrate our culture, which they also give back to our community with those wins. And that's something that I'm gonna keep in mind when I get to my last comment. Kayla says, popular American culture. Yes, there was money there. When I took my Black history class, the past semester in college, it showed how Black pride is and was somehow monetized and sometimes stolen from Black people and changed into popular American culture. And this is another issue too. Products of and from Black people and Black culture need to be shared with other Black people, not kept in an unattainable level for regular people, right? And so 1000%, right? Y'all can feel free to kind of jump in and agree or disagree or engage some of these comments, but go ahead.
I don't think Black people specifically, poor people in general, but Black people specifically, I don't think we should celebrate nothing that's like that's one of those completely unobtainable, you know what I'm saying, like material objects. Right? If it's just like
capitalistic type shit.
Yeah, we shouldn't celebrate anything that's unachievable to us.
This little article is that the Basquiat painting, Jay-Z doesn't own it. Tiffany owns it. And it actually came from his private collection. And that people were pissed off that Tiffany bought this painting and used it in an ad. You feel me? So it's like literally just the exploitation of Black culture. I'm pretty sure they paid Jay-Z and Beyonce some bread too. But and too, I'm all for collecting checks. You feel me? Pay me to do something. If I think it's, ethical, I'm gonna get paid to take my bread. You feel me? So I don't mean I get it, but in this instance, I guess you could I guess, is it ethical? I guess it's debatable in terms of symbolism.
This is, and that's no. My answer is no, right? And this is where I'm going to.
My answer is no as well, but now, you know what I'm saying? That's what people gonna debate it.
That's fair. Now, I want to acknowledge Lion's Time Baby and Leah Don for both acknowledge, and I will acknowledge, right? I think I misspoke. I meant commercially. I meant socially. There is no use or utility for diamonds, but in professional endeavors, in commercial industries where you need that type of material to do whatever cutting, creating, of course, do that, right? But I'm talking about the average common person and the desire and need to do that. When we also I think we talked about on another show how many celebrities wear fake bags and wear fake diamonds to begin with because they recognize how unnecessary and expensive that shit is, and so they're projecting an image onto us to get us to go broke to care about diamonds and shit like that. And that's not even what they wear. They wear costume jewelry. They wear cubic zirconia, and they get us to believe that they are doing things that they're not. And then we participate in industries and consume and consume things that are unattainable, thus living ahead of our lifestyles. That's what I'm getting at. But I do, and I will stand corrected in terms of that. My last question to y'all is, okay, Jay-Z doesn't own the Basquiat. Beyonce doesn't own the diamond. So it's all about the optics. It's about representation.
Being next to.
Is their response, exactly, in proximity to. Their response has been, insert TikTok video clip, we do not care. And they continue to go on. But we celebrate them, as Christopher acknowledged in the comment, as, you know, doing right by Black culture and celebrating our. Do they owe us some type of reconciliation between these things, or should we be satisfied with them doing good with one hand and being real suspect with another hand? How do we feel about that?
I feel inconsequential about it because we know that whenever Jay-Z or Beyonce drop a new album or something like that, everybody can go download it and stream it. So I really feel inconsequential about it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it don't really make me feel no other way about it one way or another, really. Because I know that for the most part, the rest of our society is gonna do what it would do. As a matter of fact, I know we probably was gonna bring this up, but think about it. We how many chop up segments have we dedicated to talking about Kanye West and us holding him accountable and or people criticizing him, and he got the number one album
getting ahead of
in the
these
world.
skis.
Hey, he got the number one album though right now. You feel me? So I just think about it like, I'm good.
What's the point? Yeah. Okay.
Do they owe us anything? Like,
I mean, considering how they've been both postured themselves and positioned themselves and how they've been elevated, they are cognizant of that, right? They're cognizant of these criticisms too. Should there be a moment of reckoning, or is there we do not care response completely valid and reasonable?
But on this question of do they owe us?
Mm-hmm.
It's like two levels, right? Like, sure. On one hand, it's just from a very base level, from a very basic level, no, right? Like, because it's their job to create art that we consume, right? Like we want to see them dance, we want to see them sing, we want to see them rap, right? We want to listen to what they do. Like we want that, you know what I mean? So, as we already know, like, whatever you get a pass for, you get a pass for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're the reason. I mean, it's you can say we're the reason why they able to stand next to a Tiffany anything, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, because we wanted them like there. You feel me? If we wanted that representation.
My God,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When we heard Jay-Z and was like, he the one. We watched Beyonce and was like, that's the queen. You feel me? Like, we did that. So of course, this is the level that they own. So on that level, do we owe them anything? Like, nah, we chose them. Then you get the pro-Black level. You know what I'm saying, right? Like, you get the scrutiny. You get, like, when you look past the commercial entertainment and all of that, and ask yourself, as a Black person, what is your responsibility? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you do enough? Because, like, as Chris pointed out, you have things that Beyonce and Jay-Z do and that attach themselves to Blackness. But again, when you are on one hand doing these things that attach yourself to Blackness, but then on the other hand doing things that celebrate what undermines and degrades Blackness, again, that cancels out. You know what I'm saying? And it's a conflict that occurs that's never reconciled. But because, you know, again, they in a position that they are and we put them there, it doesn't have to be. You know what I mean? Because of, like, the way consumerism works and all of that, that conflict becomes irrelevant. We just won't, you know what I'm saying, what we get.
What do we say? One phrase we use is people who have ever like done a budget, and this could be in your own real life. You say it all comes out in the wash, right? You do a little bad, you do a lot good, do a little
it all come out in the wash. Yeah,
it'll all come out in the wash. You know what I'm saying? We'll figure out what the end of it is, and that's really what it sounds like. You know, they just kind of living in a way that's like, we're doing this for our people. We represent, but we also gonna be celebrities and do what celebrities do, and continue to ascend, and hope that our legacy will speak for itself by the time we can't, you know, produce the art that we were producing anymore. A lot of people in the comments will close it out. Leah Don said they were doing it for the money. I just think we need to realize that they are human, not our leaders of the movement. I think they handled it wrong. So interesting takes, but also I think I can definitely 1000% agree that regardless of what they've contributed into the culture, into the art, protesting, being out, contributing money or whatever, they never asked for it. They never, you know, desired to be deputized to that, and they will be criticized if they did. You know what I'm saying? They weren't doing what they were doing, they would be criticized for it, like we criticize all the celebrities that don't seem like they're doing enough. So it's a bit of a catch-22. Brother Dodek says, don't forget the largest holding company in entertainment and luxury items, LVMH. They are the driving motivation behind consumers in the hip-hop culture, i.e. Tiffany Co. So basically, Brother Dodek said, don't sleep on the interconnections, right? It's an interweb. It's like there are all types of back scratching happening to where there are people behind the scenes making sure that these images are seen towards certain demographics, hip hop culture. Mm-hmm. You know, we spur popular culture. We are the backbone of it, the engine of it. And so there are strategic moves to make sure we come to appreciate the Tiffany Diamond, even though we don't have a lot of context for it in our own community. Right? Great conversations, great feedback from y'all. Beyonce and Jay-Z gonna do what they want to do anyway, but every now and again, since they've been elevated, whether they ask for it or not, as cultural icons, we got to tap in and check in on some of the stuff that they do and ask ourselves, is this consistent with our, and y'all can't see this if y'all are listening later on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but if there are air quote leaders of the movement, right? Mm-hmm. Got to be asking these questions. So that was a snapshot. Somebody else slide in there, and let's transition to the next section.
Let's go, Lee.
Yeah, man. So this next chop, man, we're gonna call it the natural disaster chop, because you know natural disasters always happen, they always roll around. The question is, how do we respond? Recently we know that Hurricane Ida hit Gulf Coast. A lot of people in Mississippi and in Louisiana, you know what I'm saying, uniquely have been impacted. Right here, I have an article from the NPR. It says, as Ida weakens, more than 1 million Gulf Coast homes and businesses are without power. A massive relief effort is underway across the Gulf Coast following the worst of Ida's tear through the region, as the storm had knocked out power for 1 million homes and businesses and left 2 people dead. And they see right now that the death toll will continue to rise as, you know, more people and more things is looked through the debris and the lights, and you know what I'm saying, as time go by, we start looking for people. My first question in terms of what's going on with Hurricane Ida is, do y'all think there are any similarities with how Hurricane Ida is going down and how Hurricane Katrina happened?
Similarities, yes. And the thing that I start to wonder during times like these, and I've wondered through these last couple of days of Hurricane Ida, but just in general, is if things are worse than they were before. Like, are things getting worse in our world and in our society, or do we just get to see the like intricacies of it in ways that we didn't see it before? And social media gives us the voice and the perspective of people in the mix. When Hurricane Katrina hit, I was at Lincoln College Prep getting new students from Louisiana in the 10th grade. You know what I'm saying? So we just learned about it from the kids who are at the lunch table now, who had a new school and a new community because they moved up to Kansas City. But sitting on Twitter and seeing people tweet, I'm holding the phone above my head, the water is at our waist, help us, we can't swim, my address is whatever in LaPlace, Louisiana. Seeing stuff like that, and I mean, I'm talking about y'all. My Twitter timeline is just people, please send help, please somebody send somebody to my mama, she can't swim, my sisters can't swim, and being like, was this how it was in Katrina, or was this worse, But either way it goes, what I see across the board 20 years ago or now, was that really 20 years ago? Jesus, I don't know.
13 years ago.
God, okay, about 15 years ago. What I'm seeing, the biggest similarities are that people left for dead. No protocols, no direction, no infrastructure. I'm looking at news reports with homeless people just under bridges, like, hey, waiting on the hurricane to come. And 20 years later, where's what do we do? How do we respond to this? And was it this bad before? Is it worse now? Am I just getting a closer peek? I'm very confused about what it is that I'm seeing.
Yeah, I think Katrina was worse. I do think Katrina was worse. I mean, when you're dealing with the levees breaking and like these flash flooding, you know what I mean? Like what you saw with Katrina, and then the response was 10 times worse. I think what it does is it shed light on like Katrina was worse than what we could have imagined. Just seeing based on what's happening with people now.
Snapshot of what,
you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Like when you see, again, like the imagery that you're seeing, it wasn't the technology to get it that fast to be able to have like show that like much of what's going on wasn't as readily available and accessible during Katrina as it is now. You know what I'm saying? So you talk about, really highlighting how bad something was. Like we're getting so many images now because so many people are able to document it now.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? And like what we talked about before, it's just a question of it continues to show that they don't care about the people that live in these areas because it's always the same people who go through these type of, you know what I'm saying?
These type this
like,
level
who deal with this like this type of impact when it comes to natural disasters. I mean, this goes to show you like where communities are built and why they built in the places that they built in. You feel me? Like it's a reason why you have these particular people living in an area that's prone to flooding, that's prone to storms, that's prone, you know what I'm saying, to have all of these bad things happen to them, and then not have the ability to look at it and move somewhere else.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we gotta keep asking ourselves. I mean, at this point, ain't even no more asking. We gotta find a way to be like, how do we no longer allow ourselves to be segregated in the areas that cause us to deal with the most harm when it comes with natural disasters?
I mean, I don't think it's a matter of allowing it though, for sure. I mean, let's talk about gentrification. Let's talk about ghettoization. Let's talk about you know what I'm saying? And it's no coincidence. This is not by happenstance. These people live where they live. But Lee, go ahead.
Yeah, about to say, you pretty much you said it a whole lot simpler than what I was gonna say. But we know specifically when it comes to New Orleans, we know that a lot of the zones in terms of how flooding and how different levees, you feel me, is set up. That I guess we gotta just wait to hear the stories from the people that was at ground zero for the people that live in, you feel me, these areas that got flooded, specifically where got levees at. You feel me, in terms of seeing, were there any controlled damages? Were there any, you feel me, areas that was specifically seen as being exposable and disposable? You know what I'm saying, and saved for this other area. So you never know.
I think Stephanie's comment is real valid when it comes to this part, right? Stephanie says, I didn't see them help prepare. What I saw was political figures telling the communities that it's up to them to prepare themselves. And they went about that all wrong. And this is not the first time we've seen this in a natural disaster. Ted Cruz, Ted Cruz did the same thing in the state of Texas. Basically told people, make the decisions you have to make. These are the things we are not doing. These are the precautions that we're trying to take or the considerations we're making. But he did that sent from an iPhone on an airplane on the way to Mexico. Right. And so that is more
Cancun, to be exact.
Specifically, right? Went to go kick it. Not just across the border and somewhere that is safe. No, you went to a place where people go to relax and have a vacation. And so the scary part about that is not only is there no infrastructure and no direction, no leadership and guidance from people who have been elected to do that, but don't look now. Global warming is real and it's anthropogenic. What does anthropogenic mean? Here's your vocabulary word for the day. It's human induced. As long as we are here and we don't change our behaviors, it's going to keep getting worse. And more of these natural disasters are going to be common and standard fare. And that's going to create a lot more dysfunction. than it already is. Let's talk about, not to mention, while we talk about these natural disasters, the homeless population and the moratoriums and evictions that are happening right now, and how many people are uniquely outside of their homes. And now, if they weren't before, have lost their homes and will continue to lose their homes when they try to rebuild because the economy is messed up. Natural disasters are becoming more and more of a common occurrence. And these places are becoming unsustainable in terms of rebuilding, because why just rebuild stuff when places like Florida are about to cease to exist because water is, like, it's messed up either way you cut it. And it's wild to really fathom and think about, especially when we go back to Stephanie's point where we started, which is a lack of leadership.
Yeah. I mean, just to highlight one more time, like the question of preparation, it literally speaks to like the uselessness of politics, specifically in 2021, excuse me. Like things have become so polarized that the commercialization of like if you look at what happened specifically in Houston, it was the commercialization, the corporate friendly political atmosphere in Texas that transitioned the responsibility into the private sector, right? And then allowed the private sector to do what the private sector does, focus on profit. And then we deal with whatever happens, right? People lost their lives because of that. And but again, the conversation isn't about the fact that when you allow for corporations to control things that literally have to do with the survival of a people in the community, and their focus on profit undermines their ability to do that job effectively. It's about Democrats versus Republicans.
Capitalism.
You know what I'm saying? It becomes about Democrats versus Republicans. So, again, when we talk about this question of preparation, who's responsible for these communities? Because when you have political figures, when you have political leaders who are focused on these, again, this ideology of what it means to be a conservative, like what it means to be a Democrat, all of that bullshit. Like we see Kansas dealing with that uniquely because they've been broke for the last 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Because like they ain't been able to pay for roads and schools for years because of this corporate friendly, we're Republican ran and we believe in the private sector. The private sector has failed the state of Kansas. The private sector has failed the state of Texas, and it continues to fail these people.
Absolutely.
Because accountability is ignored in protection of these bullshit cultural beliefs associated with people. But that's just me getting on my political soapbox real quick. But the reason why, again, these communities end up where they at is because people trying to make a quick buck. You feel me? And they do nothing to protect the lives of the people that are impacted by these services.
Absolutely. Want to look at these comments? New Kang Era June. Who else popped in here? Anonymous Hebrew. All of y'all, shout out to y'all for popping in, showing love, saying what's up. Shout out back to you, Anonymous Hebrew. Big love. Lion's Time, baby. My child is not hungry. She's been fed. She's just very annoying this evening. So she's looking for a home. If you want to shoot the chop up show, I'll make sure.
Dr. Dog today.
Because she's being
journey today.
Yeah. But a couple other things. Aaliyah Don says, and they just swept that under the rug like it was just business as usual. I'm assuming talking about a lot of the inadequacies and issues in the way that policies are made. Naji, actually, we'll look at Pinky Promise Life. It's a double-edged sword. People can pay their rent. Landlords don't get paid, so they can't pay the mortgage. We all lose. So the housing situation is bad across the board, and that's something that we can admit for sure. Naji asked the question, though, plug and consciously, what is expected of our political figures, political leaders in moments of these disasters? What do we think that they could be doing better?
Uniquely, they could focus on what's good for their constituents and not what to get them reelected. Right? The issue is about that people think being a politician today is about what rhetoric you can spew to make people feel better about themselves, and not what it means to be boots on the ground, like thoroughly involved with trying to understand why something is going to go wrong or what we need to do to get it fixed. Like the fact that Ted Cruz is still in a position, like still and he has his job.
Wow.
You feel me? Like, remember the standard
Ted
used
Cruz
to be,
ain't losing his job.
but that's what I'm saying. Remember the standard used to be, if you like, you got to show up where shit's going down. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you got to
remember Mayor Ray Nagin, who was the mayor of New Orleans? I feel like lost his job. You know what I'm saying? Him and a bunch of people who were in, I feel like, lost their jobs.
But see, he was on some quid pro quo type shit. You feel me? So
he
like,
went
that's
jail
what,
too.
Yeah,
right now he's in jail. I think he's still doing things right now.
But what made him a public figure though is his response to Katrina, and like how he was, again, boots on the ground, like there with the people, being there. But like when you got politicians that's in Cancun, while the people that voted for you are freezing to death, not just voted for you, but paying for your trip. You a public servant. That's taxpayers' dollars that's going from your bank account to whatever services that you getting rendered in Cancun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so what we expect from political leaders is not to just give us nice words and tell people what to do, but to endure with the people that's voting for them. You lead from the front.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Political leaders are just that, leaders of community. So you lead from the front, whatever that look like.
I think to answer that question for me, what leaders can do, because I read a lot about the literal kind of infrastructure of the evacuation plans, and from people who are on the ground there, and a lot of them talk about there's a process, and I don't want to misquote this phrase, but I think it's called contra evacuation, where they basically open up the 4 highways that like leave out of the city of the big, I think this is for New Orleans specifically. And so they set it up to where traffic can't come in, only traffic can leave out. But the timetables and the way that they orchestrate the initiation of that and create like these legal barriers that then slow down the process or whatever, or impact that process, creates issues where the flow of traffic ends up being really weird. There are also people who are uniquely in places. Like the thing about hurricanes is that you are able to get in front of them. They're not like other natural disasters where it's like, oh shit, this just happened and this really got out of hand. We hear about hurricanes and their abilities to go up to category this or be a tropical storm. We hear about that a week ahead of time. And so things like really imploring residents, particularly from certain communities, to evacuate. But here's the thing, a lot of them ain't got nowhere to go. Coming up, and it's policymakers intentionally coming up with shelters and evacuation spaces and things that are built to withstand like thinking 10, 15 years in advance, right? Like the bottom line is the environmental science is not going to change or go away. People are going to need to be able to take refuge. People need to be able, as soon as your Doppler radar start telling you something's about to change, you need to be going in the low income.
Does everybody got Doppler?
Whatever they use down there.
Yeah.
Well, right? I'm trying to figure out. I feel like everybody may have Doppler. If y'all don't
got some type
of,
the meteorologists need to talk to the city officials a week, 2 weeks in advance, and there needs to be a system set up to start to evacuate people who you know are going to be subject to these. I mean, and you have the residents who don't want to go, right? Let's talk about, we have to leave space for people who, for their own will, decide they're going to stay put, decide they're going to ride it out and do what they want to do. But I think just generally, the vision, the foresight that you can have for your specific flavor of natural disaster is something that you can be working a whole lot more effectively around. We have these same criticisms for the state of California and how the hell they dealing with all these fires. Things have to change. Things have to be considered, from the insurance industry all the way to people, the governor and the people leading these different counties. People are having to make different decisions because the fires are going to keep coming. Right.
I'm about to say, in conclusion, man, when we start talking about people that's dealing with natural disasters in our country, we want to make sure that our language that we use is very intentional and purposeful. Do not call American citizens refugees. Refugees, by definition, refers to people that's coming to here, that's coming from another country. This means we should not be using terminology that literally alienates American citizens that pay tax dollars from this country. You feel me? People are coming and have people are evacuating.
A certain complexion.
You know what I'm saying? People are evacuating. They're called evacuees. And when Damo was talking about this certain complexion, when we think about how Hurricane Harvey hit Houston, and we think about how the communities in Houston is hitting, was seen as being more multicultural, so they're not being referred to as being refugees. We see that it's a whole bunch of racialization that's happening right here. You feel what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind. We refer to American citizens that's evacuating to other states and places to get away from a natural disaster. You know what I'm saying? This is the natural disaster chop. There's definitely on a whole bunch of different social media platforms, different ways you can get involved, different ways you can put your money where your mouth is in terms of being able to help people that's right now in the trenches in terms of trying to stay safe, trying to stay dry, trying to stay fed. You feel what I'm saying? So definitely research over me search or look that up. Damo, you know what I'm saying? Go on, bring it to the home stretch, man. And you see I done yawn by 5-6 times, bro. So go on, bring it in, bring it out for us, man.
Yeah, we're gonna make this one quick, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just a vibe check. You feel me? We're gonna go ahead and close out tonight with the culture chop. We checking the vibe on a few things. Because we ain't just about to leave out without touching on these, because it's a whole week. The things be going down. So let's go ahead and get this nigga George ready for the bed. Because it take him about 30 minutes to wrap his hair before he lays his head down. He has to have the silk. He has to have the silk. Vibe check. First vibe check. Kanye, the Donda album drops. Now, because of like recent events, we can't even just get into did y'all listen or whatever. We first got to ask it. Just because he dropped the album, is the embargo lifted? Are we now paying attention to Kanye as an artist because he failed as a political spokesperson?
We do not care. Whatever that like, yeah, that's where I'm at. And I actually listened to one of the listening parties because I wanted to care. I wanted to feel again. And I couldn't do it. And I think that was like the first listening party, but I listened to the first listening party and was like, this is not for me. Like, I'm just not the audience. I'm not the demographic. I'm not artistic enough. I'm not cool enough. I'm willing and okay to admit that even outside of my own criticisms that I don't have an ear for Kanye West music. And I'm completely okay with that. I sleep well at night being able to admit that to myself.
Yeah. Hey, I'm with Toya on this one too, man.
So you don't care either.
Like, I don't like. Not only that, I don't care, and I try to get caught up in the hype with everybody else. And like, man, let me check this album out. And I literally listened to like a part of the song after Donda, after his mama saying her name. You know what I'm saying? A lot. May she rest in peace. And I just thought the same thing as Toya. It's like sonically, this music is just not for me no more. You feel me? It's just, his music is not for me. And you feel me? Apparently, you know what I'm saying? Shit, he got the #1 album in like over 90 countries right now, or 60 countries. I can't think of the number, but it's a crazy number. But it's like, Donda, Kanye West, not for me. Not playing in my ride. Not downloading it on Spotify or iTunes. I guess people are listening to it, but it ain't for me.
I also try to listen to the perception of it, sit on Twitter and kind of get a vibe for it because I follow a lot of people who are big on music, whatever, just Black Twitter in general. They're going to go check for it and see what's up. And the general perception of it was threefold. I saw people who were like, it was hot. It's Kanye has done it again. Oh my God, I'm so happy. I waited for this music. But I didn't see as many people who were saying that outright as were saying that it was bad. And the reason they were saying it was bad, it was that it sounded like it was produced, which was rushed and unconcentrated and without a solid vision. A lot of people were saying that it sounded like a combination between 808s and Heartbreaks and Yeezus, and that it was just like this weird hodgepodge of those kind of sounds and perspectives with a little bit of the gospel flair trickled into it to represent the new Kanye, but there was a lack of continuity with some of those projects, with some of the songs. I know y'all also been seeing Chris Brown, Soulja Boy. I think it was a couple other artists that are pissed because they were
Chris Brown, Soulja Boy, The Baby, Cowboy, a few artists. That was like I was supposed to be on there, but listen though, Soulja Boy's verse that I heard on Shade Room
it should have been left off. That's what you said.
It was so bad. Soulja Boy, you wrong for sending that to Kanye. You wrong for sending it to Kanye, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to explain the third perspective that I've been hearing. The third perspective is he's not for me anymore. And I'm okay with that, which is, kind of what I've been. Some people was like, I love it. Some people was like, it's just bad. It's just not good. And some people were just like, this ship has sailed. He can be a genius. And bro, he came out with a little device where you can doggone there be a DJ in the palm of your hand with songs and speed it up and flip it and reverse it and run it all up. So, I mean, his merch, I think he made $1 million or $1 billion just off of merch and stuff, just pubbing the album before it came out, doing all those shows and stuff like that. Some people are like, he's just brilliant. But I'm over the craft and the art itself. And so those are the takes that I saw about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's more so where I was at with it. I was more interested to see how people will respond, especially people that I know that like rock with music. Like, it's some people that I know that they just like a hype. So whatever's the hype thing out, they're gonna be
They're
hype
gonna
about.
love it and force
You know what I'm
themselves
saying?
to like it.
And for it, right. But it's
It's
certain
hype.
people. It's certain
Man.
people. It's certain people that I respect their opinion. And when they was like, "Yeah, that ain't it," you feel me? I was just like, that's all I needed to know. I'm not invested in Kanye as an artist to give it that, like, man, let me give it its own
Yeah,
listen.
I'm
Like,
not.
nah,
Yeah,
for what, bro? Like, you a whole clown. I don't give a fuck that you can rhyme on a beat, nigga. You are, especially when the foundation of your fanship, you know what I'm saying? I guess my fanship or your fandom started in like that pro-black, you know what I'm saying? Like, my mama was a Black Panther and this, that, and the third. You feel me? And now the album named after her ain't got nothing to do with like who, you know what I'm saying? Like, what she instilled in you. So yeah, okay, cool.
The comments are agreeing with you too. I don't want to get too hot and heavy into them, but a lot of people are saying they ain't necessarily checking out it for so much. I don't really care. Sierra Lynette said I haven't heard Donda at all, but I like Ye, so I want to hear it and hear the artistic things he has to say. So some people still really kind of contribute that or value where he is artistically. Hip hop and music in general is going downhill. His music hasn't been the same. Brother Dodek says this new album by Kanye will not be appreciated until 2022. So apparently we gonna be sleeping on it, and we're not gonna appreciate it until something special that is coming in 2022.
Nigga.
But, the design of the merch is stolen. Oh yeah, and then not to mention, a lot of people were, drawing issues and having conversations of him using people's voices. I don't know. It's all types of stuff associated with it. Don't want to sit on.
Yeah. I seen that it was somebody on social media that he used, and then he didn't get it featured. He didn't get it released by them, or he didn't get their permission, and he just put it on the album or some shit.
But it's tricky because the person who didn't get the credit because she went viral singing the gospel song "Make Me Over Again," he went through the channels to get it cleared through the person who originally sung the song, Tone. So Tone got into it. It was like, you can be mad at Kanye, but you really mad because he skipped over you and went to the person who actually was there to get permission to clear the song in the first place. And I kind of disagree with him though, too, because the version that is on the album is her voice, regardless of the person who wrote the song. So Kanye should have paid both of y'all. Yeah. Here we are.
Yeah. All right. So off that, the vibe is still the same when it comes to Kanye.
Christopher's not wrong either. If y'all in the chat, people have been saying hip hop is going down the drain since Big Daddy Kane. So at some point, we have to wonder, what the truthiness, what the standard is of truthiness for that particular thing. But
right. Second part of the vibe check. It's like a follow up. Last week we did talk about Sha'Carri Richardson, and holding her down in the midst of the haters. A lot of people when she had finished last. Outside of the haters, it was somebody who showed her a lot of love. Allison Felix, largely decorated Olympian. You feel me? Was on the talk show, showed Sha'Carri Richardson some love. Sha'Carri Richardson backdoored and was like saying something on TV, you know what I'm saying, is the same thing as not saying nothing at all. So pretty much just kind of shunned the support that she was receiving from Allison Felix. Given the fact that we were kind of defending her in terms of people hating her unnecessarily, is she now doing things to make people want to criticize her or put herself in a position where that criticism becomes more valid as opposed to just being a hater?
If I should come off as being kind of spiteful a little bit, because I get a criticism and saying like, don't get on public TV saying you support me and you ain't support me in private. Because they said ultimately kind of what she's saying, but at the same time, it's like she was asked a very pointed question about you and she responded.
Yeah,
respectfully.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah. I think it's hard, right? Because I have been guilty of liking a lot of tweets of people saying, y'all not giving the same grace to Sha'Carri that she deserves. She's young. She needs an opportunity. She needs a chance. People mess up. People make mistakes. Here y'all go again, throwing away Black women. right? And so Lester J, we have in the past. In some of the other segments, we talked about Sha'Carri's comments about Lil Nas X, for example, about, if you support him, unfollow me, this and that. This is Astro says she out of weed. Lord have mercy. The weed jokes. But
shout out to Astro.
It's hard because I want to be sympathetic to 22-year-old Sha'Carri, deal with tragedy, still learning how to be graceful in the media, still having, but my patience, not my patience, because I'm not in whatever. I don't have any dogs in this race, but it's becoming harder to support. It is kind of coming harder to stand behind. I think she's also been in trouble, not just for these types of comments, but she's been liking stuff on Twitter and not
like this couple with the anti-black shit she liked about Jamaicans is like, man, I'm she carried out right now. I'm still rocking with Sha'Carri, but I don't really care to give you too much more public airspace because it's like you got a lot going on, and I think that right now you're unraveling. Mental health is wealth, and I don't even know ain't gonna kick you while you down.
I think somebody on Twitter said it best. Baby need a burner account. That baby need a different Twitter and a chance to say and think and feel and express. Don't get caught up like KD did. Don't be Kevin Durant.
No, because he's still out there. He's got a new burner. He's got a new burner.
And so if that's how you need to get it off and you need to say these things and like stuff, you just need to do it in a way that don't get you in trouble. And then when it's time to say stuff out loud, just invite the bottom to the bottom lip to the top lip for a party. Let them hang out for a while. Okay, because too much sometimes.
Yeah, last thing I say on this is just more so, you got to pick your spots. That's really like, I don't really think you don't want to fight the people that's, that are supporting you, even if it is from a distance. People got their own lives and everything else. So, as much as this is still one of those instances where we got to extend that grace to be like, baby girl, it ain't everybody. You know what I mean? So you don't got to treat it like everybody. You know what I mean? So we definitely understand the instances where you kind of get caught up like that. But be cool. You know what I'm saying? Be cool.
I mean,
last thing.
Everybody don't want to be America's sweetheart. We got Simone Biles for that. We got Gabby Douglas for that. If Sha'Carri ends up being the one that we can't necessarily fall in love with and elevate,
you gotta have the bad girls.
You gotta let black women be good at what they do, and not like the rest of it. Just like a Dennis Rodman, just like there are a litany of, and I don't want to play her that far down into the interesting, with the meta world pieces of the world, right there.
Charles Barkley said, "I'm not a role model."
Period. And so we have to let.
I don't want to go that far down the rabbit hole.
I don't either.
But y'all know what I'm saying, though.
Dennis
Rodman, I rock with you, Dennis Rodman, man. I rock with you, Dennis.
And this last one is a quick one. This last little vibe check is a quick one. We've discussed previously, and we'll probably discuss a little bit more in the future, the absence of Kamala Harris, given the historical significance of her holding the position that she holds. A part of that absence is her silence I won't say silence, but lack of very thoughtful, introspective, or really any comments about what's happening in Afghanistan and the United States' role in what it's done in the past and what it's currently doing and what that means for Afghanistan in the future. Given, again, the historical significance of who she is, how she ended up, do we want her to say something, or is it cool that she ain't said nothing? Vibe check.
I don't need nothing from Kamala Harris in this particular moment. And what I mean by that is, as a vice president, yes, on a presidential level, speak on it, talk about it, but on a personal connection, rooting for you to do something unique to give me hope in the political processes that you participate. I don't know what I'm supposed to give to Kamala Harris. I don't know what I even should expect out of her. In this
anything, shit.
The whole Biden administration, are we ready to admit that this is all
business as usual? Are we ready to admit that people bitched about Hillary Clinton just to get 4 years of Donald Trump, just to still get Hillary Clinton? But a white man, Hillary Clinton.
Biden's response to COVID has been trash. His response to Afghanistan has been trash. His response to the homelessness crisis was not trash, but it failed. His response to student loans, which he ran on and made promises about, is in the toilet. There are a lot of things that
the border crisis. We can keep going.
And so, in terms of Kamala Harris,
Joe Biden.
I don't have any expectations. I don't want nothing from her. Don't need nothing from her. I don't know how she would make this situation better, I guess is also what I'm saying with her with her voice, lending her voice to it, her perspective. I don't know why anything Kamala Harris would contribute.
I don't think she can say anything good. So, I mean, I don't think she say anything good specifically when it comes to Afghanistan. But I do think that she could contribute to the conversation that's going on domestically about these voter restriction laws that's being passed throughout our country. Especially her being the vice president, and her talking about that she see black women. I see you. X, Y, and Z is like, well, Kamala,
we don't
if you looking to get, yeah, I'm about to say we don't see you. And if you looking at your position again to go higher, shit, you finna get. You're not finna get nothing no more because they can't go to the polls to vote for you,
bruh. I was just about to say that. If for no other reason, it could be selfish motivation, but you need to have a lot more dogs in that fight. I don't understand. I mean, this is a unique opportunity. If your voter base was the black people and the black women you shouted out for a while, I don't see you in every side conversation and side moment you have in a room with Stacey Abrams and the rest of the women of Atlanta, figuring out how to like that. Those are the optics I want to see you doing. Not walking from here to there or whatever. Let me see you at a very core level, reinvigorated.
Yeah, I'm cool on seeing your Timberlands and your Chuck Taylors now. Now it's time for you to put them things on the ground, man, and show them what you're really about.
All right, man. All right. Well, that was the Culture Chop vibe check, man. It ain't
vibe check. Time to eat.
Kamala Harris and commenting on Afghanistan is not a vibe.
Not a vibe. We ain't looking forward to that.
Donda and Kanye as a whole.
Not a vibe. No.
Hey, yeah, not a vibe. Hey, rest in peace to his moms. But I would not be listening to the Slab'em album.
Nah, not at all. And then Sha'Carri's comments towards Allison Felix.
Not a
vibe. Not it. Hey, but also too, not a vibe. The shit she liked about Jamaicans running with no shoes on and shit. Like she was like, hey man, listen, this some hood anti-blackness right here. You were being anti-black and you doing it from a hood perspective, but they're making non-anti-blackness because it's like, you making fun of people from other countries from not wearing classes.
Yeah, you know, we'll just put it like this more so. Sha'Carri's actions since getting cooked in the Jamaican race as a whole, not a vibe. Not a vibe. And that's the show. That's the chop up. That is the Culture Chop.
That's the show. Lines time, baby. Shout out to you. My locks have gotten longer. I'm going to call you Rapunzel. I think you left the L off intentionally, and you're goofy for that. I definitely appreciate it. We swinging and banging out here. Definitely see y'all commenting toward the end of the discussion about Kamala, about not wanting to see or hear anymore from this admin. What we want to do is take the things that y'all thinking and turn them into topics. So y'all got a lot of thoughts and perspectives. Y'all watch the same news we watch, and y'all probably watch some stuff that we don't see. So if y'all ever want us to consider talking about something on the show, toss it in the DM, put it under a picture, make it a comment, tag us in it. Hopefully we'll see it and come across it and potentially use it for the next week on the show. I want y'all to continue to send us stuff. Also, y'all owe us music. A lot of y'all supposed to send us music for Fly Music Friday. I ain't got none yet. So DM your music, your homies' music. Tell your people to send their music to us on Instagram at the Chop Up Show Pod. They can connect to us on Twitter at Chop Up Show Pod. Just find us on these platforms and let's get y'all a whole lot more integrated than you already are into the show. You feel?
Without a doubt. So we definitely appreciate y'all joining us again. If you've been watching on the Consciously platform, y'all make sure y'all go over to at the Chop Up Show and subscribe to the Chop Up Show. If you're watching this on the Chop Up Show, make sure y'all go over to at the Consciously and subscribe to at the Consciously. You can find me at the Political Plug on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Solar Vision Debate League on YouTube, all of that. Toya.
All right. High Definition LEC on Instagram. Toya GHD on TikTok. Outside of that, make sure y'all stay locked into the show. We got some apparel coming, Chop Up and Chill clothes coming up for the spring. We got some sweatshirts, some crews, a lot of little stuff coming up that we want to get to y'all. And more importantly, shoot, week by week, just stay connected, stay in touch. I know we're going to rock again.
Hey, man. You know how we do. We close out the show the same way that we start the show. We out.
Me, my guys, we really live. Lord, forgive me, pay my tithes. Please don't have me reach inside. And that's in a console. Keep the semi when I ride. Lit off Henny when I